Surprises year after year, and without whom, of course, the Open Forum would just not take place. So thank you very much to the Secretariat. Couldn't do this without you. So it's wonderful to be back in Venice and to remember all the good times that we've spent here. The good people I've met and the stories that people tell you over coffee, the things that surprise you. And sometimes, perhaps over something stronger, they can surprise you even more. And it's wonderful to be back here. It's wonderful to see so many of you again here in Venice. So this year we're celebrating our 15th Open Forum in Venice. So we've held some webinars during the pandemic, but we thought it was waiting until we could all be together again in person before we celebrated our 15th Open Forum. So we wanted to see you in real life, not just on the screen. Being together makes it easier to hold discussions as we found today, because we were running perhaps an hour late. And it is not entirely my fault this time. So this is the first time that we've had a chance to meet here on San Savola since the start of the pandemic. So it's a good time to celebrate good things. And one of those, of course, is the growth of CO2GNet from a European funded project to a legal not-for-profit, self-sustaining organisation. And with so many friends. And in our numbers, we now have 27 members from 21 European countries. And we celebrate 14 years as a legal entity this year. And with this being a very special Open Forum, being 15, we decided that we would invite some of the past presidents to join us. And we're very pleased that some were able to make a great personal sacrifice of travelling to Venice to be with us tonight. So I've given them the challenge to tell us in 2 to 3 minutes what they know about the association, their favourite memories, a little story perhaps. But they only have 2 to 3 minutes, so you're going to have to help me keep you to time by starting to clap. If they run over their allocated time slot. So we have been joined by some of the past presidents, and I'd like to welcome them to the stage. So in running order, so first, Nils Peter Christensen, would you like to come forward and tell us a little bit?
Try to keep to the 2 minutes and keep the adventure short. But there was 2 memorable events. In 2003, a little group of us met in a small office in Brussels, organized by Sergio. It was a tourist office of the Venice-Friuli region, and we sat around a table, a meeting table. We worked there for 30 hours, and we put together an application for the open call for an expert network in Europe. And when we left 30 hours later, kind of dazzled, we handed in the application. I think we had draft beer, and then we went to the airport. Next year, CO2GNet started. The Commission had been kind enough to actually allocate a few million euros to get this network started. Remember CCS? It's not a big deal at the time. There was really only the Schleifer project and a few emerging activities. So this was the very beginning. Once we got the project started, I was not actually the first chairman. I only stepped in when all the money was gone. But then one of the first things we did was say, when you have a meeting, project meeting or a conference, everybody travels except one to host the meeting. Why not have it in somewhere really, really nice? And that's San Salvador. So every year after that, we've had a conference here whenever we could. And that all happened because of Sergio and his team at ODS that had some mysterious connection to the University of Venice and could secure this opportunity for us. I think after I left us, it started as chairman, but you know, when it's in France, it becomes president, and then the following president made it a bit more business-like, organized. Isabel organized it, And also we started involving our good colleagues from the countries that were about to join the EU in Eastern Europe. And this has been a very good travel. So I think I will hand it over to my successor with these words. Thank you.
So,
Now I have
let's
two.
walk to.
Oh.
So we have your successor, I believe, so Nick Riley is here to tell us what.
Shut these doors because there's a massive echo coming down.
Nick, don't escape.
Down there it's echoing sadly. Okay. Right, okay, what do you want to say? Oh, I have lots of fond memories, but one of the things that really reminded me tonight, it was so appropriate to have a beautiful quintet. They all have their own instruments. Some of them have a selection of instruments of the same type, but with different notes. And they all were in harmony together. And that's what a network eventually should be, like that orchestra, where everybody has something different to bring. And they all fit together. 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 doesn't equal 5, it equals 25. You get so much more out of a network. So in the early days of putting the network together, one of the things I really liked was to, I'm a zoologist as well as a geologist, was bringing in the biologists into CO2 And that included taking forward things from the nascent project with Jonathan Pearce led, you remember that, on natural analogues, CO2 leakage, and bringing in the biologists into that, so natural seeps of CO2, what was it doing to the biology? Because then we can perhaps get an idea. People always ask, well, what if it leaks? What would it do to the ecosystem? And I thought also, well, we already look at trees from the air to see where the gas pipelines are leaking. With very small leaks you wouldn't spot otherwise, but there's a change in the vegetation. So using biology as for monitoring very, very slow rates of leakage as an early sign something's going wrong, I thought was brilliant. The Whaling project, you remember that? And that was a CO2 EOR oil field, and the IEA greenhouse gas program was involved. It was international between Canada, US, and Europe. And the Italians particularly had really good capability in soil gas monitoring. And I remember going to the very first Whaling workshop, and they were not happy with Europeans coming over measuring soil gas. So all the petroleum engineers at Whaling said, "We'll know if it's leaking, we'll see it on our well logs and our pressure monitoring." I said, "You might not." But I said, "Do you actually know the gas fluxes from the ground to the air, the natural background ones?" Because that's the only way you're going to prove if there's a change, whether you're leaking or not. And so that argument was won in the end, and the Whaling project started all the soil monitoring, and we had places over the oil field and places away from the oil field, because in biological experiments you always have control, and that was all done. And I said, you need to do this in case you have a false accusation that you're leaking, because if you don't know what the fluxes are, how would you prove that there was a false accusation? 10 years later, very high profile false accusation that the Whaling project had killed a load of cows and hens and I don't know what on the prairie. And because of all the data that had been put together in the Whaling project with the soil gas monitoring, CO2 developed that even more and was able to go in there and prove that there was, you know, these cows could not have been killed by a leak at all. And of course, as usual, the headlines are always remembered in bold, and when the facts actually come out, it becomes a footnote somewhere else. And that's really bad reputational damage, you know, that the public picks up, but that's the press for you. It was great to work with marine biologists as well, and that, you know, when we had the beautiful seeps off Sicily coming up, and these plumes with all the bacteria, and then coming up in the CO2 plumes and the fish eating the bacteria, and so you had a whole new ecosystem forming. Those wonderful underwater Salvatore and his team, brilliant. Salvatore's not here tonight, I'm afraid. Yeah, but what University of Rome, what fantastic things they did, and they won our main partners. So I think I've probably said enough. I've taken so much time already.
I think that's a wonderful story and a wonderful introduction to what suited you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So CO2 Juliet continue to grow, and we go to our next past president. So Isabel, please could you come to the front and tell us a little bit about CO2 Juliet?
Thank you, Kerry. So I must say that CO2 Juliet was the best experience of my whole professional career. Constructive, and you may wonder why, but it is a long-lasting adventure, long-lasting story, because as Nils said, it started in 2003, working all night to submit the proposal to the European Commission, the new instrument network of excellence. And so what was really pleasant is what we managed step by step, year by year, to build a real network and very efficient network, which became a legal entity under French law, a French association in 2008, and now is recognized as the scientific body of Europe on CO2 geological storage. We have been able to achieve work together with many nationalities from many European countries. This is why it is so pleasant. We have been managed to initiate new research projects, to organize each year this outstanding event in Venice, to train young scientists, to advise, to give some scientific advice, to participate regularly to the COP climate conferences, talking about CCS, informing about CCS. And all this was done with a collective effort in a very constructive way and in a very friendly atmosphere. So really, thank you to all my CO2 colleagues from all the countries, and long live to CO2 Geonet. CO2 Geonet has a lot to achieve, to help to transition from millions to billions of CO2 stock.
Thank you, Isabel. So I really became active in CO2 Geonet when Isabel was the president. So this is my first CO2 Geonet president. And then the torch was passed to Ton Wildenburg. So Ton, would you like to...
Thank you very much, Kerry. Well, I could be very brief and just say I fully subscribe to strategic objectives of CO2 research, training, education, and advice. But that's not all of them. Actually, the most important part, I think, of this network, and that is not in the strategy, is that it is a social network. Well, as shown here tonight. And I think the centerpiece of this social network, the cementing of this network, is standing over there. Sergio. So I really feel lucky, Sergio, that I met you, and that you called me. It was not Christmas Eve, but somewhere between Christmas Eve and New Year, 2014. we started discussing, hey Tom, would you like to become president? And I thought, oh wow, president, that's geologist and president, that's not too bad at all. And well, Sergio said trust, so I thought, okay, I have to discuss this with my manager. But my management, well, it took some time, and then the deadline for submission of candidate was passed. So I sent an email to Sergio. Sergio, well, it is supported, but the deadline has been passed. And then Sergio was so kind that he said, well, I will accept this. I will make this exception and you can subscribe for it. So, thank you.
Thank you to you.
Sergio. So, and then I started to learn Sergio, and not only Sergio, all of the people here, but let's say Sergio, you have some qualities, you know. I don't know if you're aware of it, but I'm aware of it. In organizing, in smart organizing, in getting people involved in the matter, in integration. That was one of the first activities when the Network of Excellence came into being. And I was really surprised. And foremost, communication skills you have, and your warm communication skills you have.
Don't exaggerate, please.
My memories is like this, that we had many occasions, and I thought, okay, we have a short chat with Sergio, but it was never short. It took some time, but okay, communication is important. And of course, communication is going on. Even during the many executive board meetings we had, and you were called upon privately or in business. And of course, these calls had to be answered right away. So we saw Sergio disappearing with his mobile phone almost below the table, answering this phone and then just continue the discussion. Well, great, Sergio. Thank you for this.
So thank you very much, Tom. Thank you very much to all of the CO2 past presidents who have been here so much longer than I have. I joined quite late to the party. I spent some time looking at geology in China and then I came back to Europe. And I'm very glad that I did because for me the network has been absolutely wonderful. But since I have not been here from the beginning, I wanted to ask Rowena to come and help me introduce our next special person that we wanted to thank us from CO2
Sure, I like this microphone. Is this echoing horribly at the end, or is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I first met Sergio in a curry house in London in 2006. I remember it very well because I was nervous. I was very nervous. Isabel had just given me an assignment to come and join CO2 GNet and above all help the Secretary General, assist the Secretary General. Thank you. Little did I know, but I found this later, Sergio was also quite nervous. I was nervous because I had to take the minutes the next day at the general meeting in Imperial College. Sergio was nervous, or shall I say, wary, because there was this stranger that was coming to steal some of his tasks.
It's true, I confirm.
But little did I know that Sergio and the CO2 GNet crowd were very welcoming and very friendly. And so that was the beginning of 14 years of strict collaboration with Sergio as the Secretary General. But this is not about me and you, Sergio. This is about many friends. That was just one example of me that enjoyed working with you. But there are many, many people in this room and many people that are not in this room but that wish you well, that have enjoyed working with you and that have become true friends. So this is not my voice, this is the voice of a group of many friends who want to say thank you for everything that you've done for CO2 Journette. So when somebody asked me to say a few words about Sergio, of course a few things popped into my mind, a few habits, a few capabilities and abilities. So thank you for your kind-heartedness. Thank you for your enthusiasm and your dedication. Thank you for organising all these fantastic open forums, 14, I presume. Thank you also for looking and finding solutions, even if those solutions were dodgy Italian solutions. and that I was just too British to listen to your solutions.
Stop it.
Another thing that sprung to mind was the word talkative. I think Tom mentioned that. But let me just reassure you, I'm not very talkative, and so we will soon have dessert. So let me wrap up, Sergio, but from all your friends that are present and also that are not present, we want to thank you for being the backbone of CO2 Journette. You've been there right from the start and have led us all this way. So thank you for that, and thank you as well, because you've been active not only in CO2 Journette, but also in ENEA, as national representative, in international committees. So thank you for everything that you've done for CO2 storage as well.
Thank you.
And let me just, instead of just looking at the past, I want to also look to the future. Because Sergio and OGS didn't abandon CO2 Journette in 2020 when you left on retirement. He paved the way for the future CO2 Journette Secretary General, our current Secretary General, Barbara Merson, who has brought extra things. I must say she's doing a wonderful job, and she's brought young blood and enthusiasm. So Barbara, would you like to come up and present Sergio and explain the little gift that is from all your friends?
The tradition is for the present is a bag.
But I have already 15.
But this has special contents, so
Oh,
you
yes.
can open and
May I?
discover from all your friends here and
As a password?
away.
Before opening, let me say that I'm really surprised. I never received so many kind words, but I'm plenty of them, and I'm really glad. Before opening?
No, open it.
Be careful! Wow!
So Rossana, which is Sergio's wife, thank you for accompanying him to Venice each
Wow.
year. But next time, you and Sergio alone, can you go to the La Fenice? Come to La Fenice Theatre, and you will spend a weekend alone in Venice to enjoy the theatre.
But are you sure that CO2 Journette is so rich? I show you. So if someone will offer you to be the next secretary, please accept it. I read it. It is Sergio, enjoy. Your many CO2 Journette friends would like to offer you a wonderful 2-day stay in Venice with 2 tickets for a performance of your choice at La Fenice. Wonderful. Thank you for all your dedicated service to Sito Jonette over the years. All of you, but please consider to have received a real friendly kiss. I'm astonished. But thank you a lot, thank you a lot. But
Without work. One time without work.
okay, and may I add two things because Nils already explained to you how all this great adventure for all of us started. It started during one night, you remember, when we submitted the first proposal for the Network of Excellence call, and we got it. But the key story is that we start working, and when it was 8 in the afternoon, someone said, do you want me to go and take some sandwiches? We said, no. In 1 hour we finish, okay? When we arrive at 10, we have to revise slightly the text, because the text was a kind of cut and pasting of our contribution. What happened was at midnight, I was collecting all the contribution, and I destroyed the file. And so at midnight, I discovered that probably there was some work to do. And so I said, okay, but please, we have to go back home, and so, okay, we can work 1 hour more, okay? And there was with us our friend Ipo Ritzema. At 2 in the night, Ipo, that's from TNO, said, oh my goodness, my car parking place is closing at 2:30. And so he rushed away, and in the following 3 hours, we were in contact with Ipo because we did not find his contributions. And so, what happened is that the deadline was something, I don't remember.
And you had to submit a printed copy.
We had to submit a printed copy, and we were hosted in an office in Brussels. So, I tell you, in more or less, I think that just half an hour before the real deadline, some of us, probably Nick, myself, or somebody else, arrived, and we have given by hand the printed copy to the European offices. But that was not the real end of the story for myself, because something around 9 in the morning, I entered in my hotel, and the person in the lobby said, oh, but you did not arrive yesterday. and so I said, yes, it's true, sorry, I didn't take that. Because I have been with some of my friends in an office for submit a European project, and this man said, Sergio. He said something like that, and all of us still remember that. And this is a funny story, but I have something more serious. I don't know if you remember one of the famous talk of della perestroika. Gorbachev, during an interview, has made a very important statement. And he said, don't forget that near a very good Secretary General, Gorbachev said, there is for sure a second right hand, an assistant, that is Rowena. And I must say that after Rowena was surprised to how nice was working with me. I also was really helped, not surprised, but really helped, because Rowena helped me really, being very kind to me, correcting all my very bad English text, discussing with me all the details, saying to me, Sergio, be careful, or be quiet, be quiet. And very often he said, please don't speak so much, you're boring. And so now, after 2 years, I have the opportunity to give something to Rowena that cannot be changed anymore because the shop where we got it it was February 2002, disappeared. And so I still have the ticket for giving to her the opportunity to change it if she does not like it. But sorry, you have to accept it. Because the shop, due to the crisis, does not exist anymore. You know, I'm organizing too much. Now in comparison with the help that I have received, but because this is one of my last official acts, I'm not disappearing nor die, but I'm very happy to demonstrate, not only from my side, but from all the CO2 network. And instead of network, I should propose from now on to speak about CO2 net group of very good friends, because this is really the style we are working together, and also without me, the CO2 net will continue with wonderful group of good friends.
The microphone's off.
Okay. Thank you. Really. Thanks,
So for this occasion, we
Mr. Past President, you're very kind.
Well, you were the first people who got us out of virtual reality, because you always kept saying in reality.
Thank you.
yeah, just final things. Since
Use the microphone. Great.
so we have we have a special cake with our logo, and since we are in Italy, I would like to everyone learn some Italian words. So it's a special day today, and I would like everyone learn tanti auguri. Can you say?
Tanti auguri
To Valentina, which is her birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
Valentina. Happy birthday to you.
And the President, if you will help to cut the cake.
Grazie. Thank you everyone for this. I really don't know this surprise, so thank you everyone.
Wonderful.
I need an help to cut the first slice.
Yeah, the President or Secretary.
Un attimo che guardo la torta.
Eccoci,
Magnifica, grazie.
va bene?
Sì, va benissimo.
Grazie.